Dragon eyes. We're making dragon eyes and it's gonna be cool.
This year, so far, we've been using basic tools to make really fun, great-looking art. We've talked about building up and repeating lines to create mandalas, and we've talked about blending colors to create shaded pumpkins. In this project, we will put it all together and using observation and imagination, create some incredible dragon eyes. To begin with, are dragons real? The answer is, we don't know. They're part of a group of creatures called mythical beasts. That means that they exist in stories, and nobody knows for sure if they're true. Mythical creatures are made up of real animals mixed together. So to start this dragon eye project, we're gonna look at some real animal eyes. You guys ready for a little quiz? Okay, what animals do these two eyes belong to? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. The answer is a cat and a rooster. All right, let's do another one. What animals do these two eyes belong to? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Did you guess a lizard and an eagle? Let's talk about the eyes that we're going to create today. In class, we'll be using black paper and oil pastels and really focusing on shading and blending colors. If you're at home, I recommend colored pencils if you have them and crayons if you don't. I think it helps to work pretty small since coloring takes a long time. And the first thing you're going to do is pick a shape for your eye. So some of the shapes that are on these examples they're all sort of a curvy rainbow line on the top and a curvy rainbow line on the bottom. But you can put them diagonally and put those lines closer together to have a narrow eye. Or you can have a rounder eye. Kind of like this one here, although this one would look like that. Kind of like this though. Your next job is to add 2 lines on the top and on the bottom for the eyelids. So I'm going to add a line up here and a line down here. And actually, when I started making these, it was really fun, and I started just going to town on some different shapes. So this one's curvier, this one's rounder, right? Okay. Next, I know it says in the directions to start working on the scales, but I'd like to begin with the center of the eye. And you've got a couple choices for that, right? Your main choices are, do you want to make a circle or do you want to make a slit, kind of like that cat eye, right? So maybe on this one, I'll make a slit. Maybe on this one, I'll make a big circle, and you can decide whether you want it to be like hidden a little bit or if you just want to do the pupil in the middle. So I'm going to make another circle in the middle for the pupil. And this artist drew pictures inside. I kind of like that. So what this person did is they made lines that go in all 4 directions and then smaller ones in between. And we'll make that better looking when we color it in, okay? For this one, they took the slit eye and they created these bumps and a bit of light. Again, adding all these little spots for bright light looks great. Next, you're gonna work on the scales. And the first thing I want you to do is a row of sort of the same shape scale. So you can decide for scales, do you wanna use a line that's like very bumpy and soft? Do you want it to be kind of, I don't know, angular? That's the line that they use on these directions that I have for you to look at, right? Whatever it is you choose, you're gonna be repeating it. So a spiky line has one kind of vibe, right? A very blocky line has another. And try not to make them exactly the same. Maybe the ones in the middle are bigger and the ones near the outside are smaller. So smaller, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And again, a little bumpy, a little irregular is cool. Stop. Are you drawing along with me right now? This is our art class. So your job is to have a pencil and a piece of paper. And you should be drawing right along with me. If you don't have one, go get one. Go get it. All right, come on back. Let's keep drawing. Now for this one, maybe, I don't know, I'm picturing like rounder scales for this dude. Now after this row, you're going to make a row of smaller scales. And again, it's kind of up to you how you want to do this. Well, actually, you know what? These are fantasy creatures, so we can break all our own rules, right? I feel like this one needed another row. Notice how I'm putting some scales in between. And this one maybe is ready for a second batch. So I'm gonna make a line that reflects the shape of the eye and then start making some cool looking scales. This kind of reminds me of the lizard eye that we were looking at the beginning of this video. And you know, maybe I'll have the scales kind of going down and filling up these cracks. You can decide if you want this to be like a unicorn eye or a minotaur eye or any mythical creature that you want. All right, same with this one. And I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit for you. All right, so now you can decide whether you want your eye to just kind of float in the middle of the paper or whether you want it to fill up the whole thing. So if you want it to fill up the whole thing, I recommend making your own kind of wavy picture frame here. And again, my line isn't perfect, but I'm gonna let that kind of bust over the side. And now, let's see, how does this artist fill in the space? She picks these same lines and makes them smaller and smaller. Maybe I want to add some kind of feathery, spiky marks on this side. And we want to think about balance, right? So if I add some here, maybe I add some on the bottom. Maybe I add some in the back now too. And I actually really like that. I think that looks really nice. For this one, I noticed this eye has these little circles that kind of fade out, and I think that looks really neat. So I'm adding some little circles that just fade out. And maybe I'll add just, I like these little spikes. So maybe I'll add a couple spikes, almost like eyelashes or something. And I like that. That feels balanced to me.
Now, usually that would be it, but I want to get on to shading and talk about filling your eye with cool colors.
Choose your colors first. Do you want a fire dragon? Pick reds, oranges, yellows, and pinks. For a cool or water dragon, maybe blues and greens. Start with the center of your eye and trace the edges with one color. Then you can draw a little bit lighter and kind of shade inward. Pick another color and you're gonna push hard on the inside of the eye and then kind of fade it out until it blends with that red. Next, choose a color for the scales and color the right side of everything. See how I push darker on the edges and then kind of get lighter? Choose another color and you're gonna shade the left side of all your scales. And then the parts where the colors meet, blend a little bit. I'm doing the same thing now with blue and green. And here I'm gonna show you a different example using marker to trace my lines. And I'm gonna show you a different shading technique where you do a really light coloring job first, then you can get fancy with your eye, right? And then you're gonna go back over your brown and push harder on one side again to get that glowy effect. This project is hard, but it's cool, and I think you're gonna really like it. I can't wait to see what you make.